Okay, for this first problem, you need to use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where this is the hypotenuse, and these are the legs. So, in order to find the area and perimeter, we need to know each of these missing sides. In order to find this missing side, we need to use this triangle. This is one of the legs, this is the other leg, and this is the hypotenuse. So this is C, this would be either A or B, and this would be B. So we're going to make this equation 10 squared plus b squared equals 25 squared. And this can be simplified. 100 plus b squared equals 625. And then subtract 100. B squared equals 525. Square root both sides. And you get b equals 22.91, etc. That's going to be this side length right here. Inches. Now we're going to find this second side length, and we're going to use this is A, this is B, and this is C. So A squared plus 22.9 squared equals 47 squared. We know this squared is going to give you 525. Subtract 525. And then square root both sides. Okay, and then in order to do the area, you're going to do 1/2 this whole base times the height. Okay, so tell me what that equals. If you use the exact numbers, you'll get 584.7 inches squared. That's using the exact numbers. And then the perimeter is going to be these three sides added together. So 25 plus 51.04 plus 47. It's going to be 123.0 if we're rounding to the nearest tenth. And these are our two answers. That's in inches. It's in inches squared. All right, moving on. All right, if we're graphing this equation, we're going to use the fact that this is slope and this is the y-intercept. So we start with the y-intercept, which is at -7, 3, 4, 6, -7. And then a slope of -5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Now you'll notice this is a slope of -5 because it goes down 5, right 1. We can continue this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left 1. And once you have enough points, you can just go ahead and connect them as straight as you can. And that's going to be your line. Okay, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the first step is we need to find the slope, which is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So y1 is negative 1, y2 is 3, x1 is 9, x2 is negative 2, so this is negative 4 over 11. Now we're going to put this into our point slope form, which is y minus, and we can use either of these points. I'm just going to use the first one. So y1 is negative 1. This can be written as plus 1 equals m, which is this guy over here, times x minus x1. Make sure that both of these parts come from the same point. So it follows that you could have two possible equations here. So or y minus 3, and this is coming from this second point, negative 411 times x plus 2. Either of these is correct. So both are correct. Now for this next one, we need to write this in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. It's easiest to start with point slope like this. Okay, so start with point slope because we have a slope and we have a point. So y plus 9 equals negative 1/3 times x plus 3, and then morph it, transform it into this. So we're going to distribute this negative 1/3. And we're going to subtract 9. And then this here would be slope-intercept form. Alright, with inequalities, there's a few things to remember. I'm going to do the top one in blue, the bottom one in red. This one, because of this right here, is a solid line. The red one, because of that, is going to be dotted. Okay, so if we're going to graph this blue line, we need to graph it like it's an equal sign. So up 4, and then a slope of negative 2/3. Okay, and then we're going to use this the solid line to go up and over. Now to see where to shade, you're going to use a test point. I'm going to use 0, 0 because that's the easiest to use. 0 is less than or equal to negative 2/3 times 0 plus 4. 0 is less than or equal to 4. And that is true, which means you're going to shade towards 0, 0. So here's 0, 0. Now I'm going to deal with the red line. First of all, I need to figure out how to graph this. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides. Now I'm going to divide everything by 2. And then I'm going to graph it. So 3, up 2, right 1. And I get a lot of points so I can have a very nice dotted line. And now I'm going to use a test point. So I'm testing 0, 0 again. When I put in 0, 0, I'm going to get 0 is greater than 6, which is false. So I'm going to shade away from 0, 0. And the overlap is the solution. Okay, parallel lines have the same slope. So your first task is to figure out what is the slope of this line. So we're going to go ahead and subtract from 4x on each side. So I'm going to have negative 5y equals negative 4x minus 6. Divide by negative 5. We have y equals 4/5 x plus 6/5. So the slope is 4/5, and that's what we're going to use to figure out our line. So we're going to have a general line with the same slope. And this is what we need to find. We need to figure out what is B. And I'm going to use this point to figure it out, because we know that this line has to go through this point. So 1 comes from right here, equals 4/5 times negative 5 plus B. 1 equals negative 4 plus B. B must be 5. So your final answer comes from this and this. Y equals 4/5 x plus 5. The B goes here. Everything else comes from up here. And this is your final answer. This is parallel to this line and goes through this point. Now when we're dealing with perpendicular lines, these deal with opposite slopes. So we need to figure out this slope and then find the opposite. So take 2x plus 3y equals 9 and solve for y. Divide everything by 3. You get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 3. The slope here is negative 2/3. The opposite slope is positive, because this one was negative, 3/2. You just flip this. We're going to use this to create a general line. With this slope. So y equals 3/2 x plus b, and then we're going to use this point. 0 equals 3/2 times 8 plus b. 0 equals 12 plus b. B is negative 12. So our final answer here comes from y equals 3/2 x, so that's a perpendicular slope, minus 12, because it goes through this point. All right, substitution is done by solving for one of the variables, so I'm going to solve for x, and then substitute it in for the x in the other equation. Instead of x, I'm going to put this, and then solving. Once you get y, you're going to go back up and you're going to put that in here. So x equals negative 2 times negative 4 minus 11. X is 8 minus 11, which is negative 3. So your final answer here is negative 3, negative 4. We're going to do the same thing here, except we're going to use elimination. So to use elimination, we need to get rid of one of the variables. I'm going to multiply this top by negative 4. So I'll get a negative 4x minus 20y equals 8. And then I'm going to add these two. So these cancel. I have negative 22y equals 22. So y is negative 1. Once you have y, you're going to come up to one of the original equations, like this one, and put in y. So for this one, our final answer is 3, negative 1. Here's where it starts to take a little extra time. First, you need to eliminate one variable. So I'm going to eliminate b, just because b looks like it's going to be the easiest to eliminate. First, I'm going to add these two equations, and I'm going to get 7a. The b's are going to cancel out. Minus c equals 46. Next, I need to get rid of b again in another equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this one by negative 3. So I'm going to get negative 9a minus 3b plus 9c equals negative 87. Then I'm going to add it to this one. Oops, sorry. I'm going to add it to this one. 2a plus 3b minus 2c equals 17. So I'm going to get negative 7a, okay, plus 7c equals negative 70. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy down here and eliminate again. These guys cancel out. We get a 6c equals negative 24. C equals -4. Now we're going to use this to solve for A. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, okay, 7A minus -4, that comes from down here, equals 46. 7A plus 4 equals 46. 7A equals 42. So A must be 6. Lastly, we're going to use both of these and come back to an original equation. So 5 times 6 minus 3b plus -4 equals 29. That's 30 minus 3b minus 4 equals 29. 26 minus 3b equals 29. -3b equals 20, or sorry, not 23, equals 3. B equals -1. So our three solutions are these three numbers. And you can check those by putting them back into the original. All right, each of these needs to be simplified all the way. So if we're going to go through and simplify these, we need to break them down into their factor trees. So let's break this one down. And we're looking for groups of 3. So here's one group of 3. So what we have here is we're going to bring a 2 out of the cube root. And then we're going to have 3 times 2 times 5 on the inside. So our final answer is 2 cubed root. And these numbers here came from these 3. 3 times 2 times 5 is 30. So that's your final answer. This is a 4. So in this case, we're looking for groups of 4. We're going to break this down. 16 and 10. 4 and 4. Here's one group of 4. And then this is the same thing as 7 x's. And we're looking for groups of 4. So here's a group of 4 there, and we're going to have 3 left over. So we're going to pull out a 2, and that's going to multiply by this original 3. And we're going to pull out 1x. Left on the inside, we're going to have 2 times 5, which is 10. And we have 3 x's, sorry. So our final answer here is 6x, 4th root of 10x cubed. This one is similar. You just break this down. So 4 and 96, 2 and 48, that's a 2. All right, we're looking for groups of 3. So we have 1, 2 groups of 3. So we're going to pull out 2 2's. So that 2 comes down. All right, we have x squared. This one we can pull out x cubed. And this one we can pull out x squared and have x squared left. or sorry, y squared. Apologize. So left on the inside we have a 2 and a 3 and 2 y's. So our final answer here is 8, and that's in a third root. 8 x to the 5th, y squared, cubed root of 6 y squared. This one's broken down. And we have a group of 3 here. So we're going to pull out a 2, and that's going to be an 8 cube root of 6. Okay, we have a group of 3 right there. All right, we have like terms. So these are going to be negative 7 cube root of 6. All right, I'm going to break down each of these. And we're looking for groups of 3. Here's a group of 3 here. That comes out. This becomes 30 cube root 5. We have a group of 3's and a group of 2's with a 5 left over. So we have minus 6 cube root of 5. And we have a group of 4 2's right here. Be careful, this is a 4. All these other ones are 3's. So plus 4, 4th root of 5. And you cannot combine a cube root and a 4th root. You can, however, combine these two. This is going to be 24 cube root of 5, and then this just comes down. Okay. So each expression needs to be changed into its opposite form. Whoops. Sorry about that. So this needs to become radical form. This bottom goes here. And the top, this goes here, and this goes here. So this simplifies to cube root of 5. All right, this means a square root. There's no number here, you'll notice. This will have no number of 6 to the 3rd. And then you can simplify this if you want. You can just leave it like that, though. This one's got a 5th root, and then 2x to the 6th. You can just leave it like that. This one has a negative, so that's going to go under 1. This is going to be 1 over, and then this is a square root. Okay, and then 10n to the 3rd. Again, you can simplify that if you want, but you don't need to. Okay, this one, you need the parentheses here. Okay, 6x to the power of 4 thirds. 3 comes from here, 4 comes from here. Okay. These last ones we just need to solve. If you just have a square root, you're going to square both sides, and you'll get x plus 5 equals 9, so x is 4. Same idea here. Square both sides, and you'll have 4x over 3 equals 16. Multiply both sides by 3, and divide both sides by 4, and you'll get x equals 12. This one's a little tricky. You want to get the square root alone first. So we're going to subtract 1, divide by 2, then square both sides. So we'll have 2x minus 5 equals 25. Add 5, divide by 2, and that's your answer. Last one, if we square both sides here, you're just going to get 4x plus 5 equals 2x minus 11, and then we're just going to solve this. So minus 5, minus 2x, and so x equals negative 8. And that, I believe, is all.